After 3 years of planning her dream wedding, she discovered the Duke's shocking secret with her. Emma had counted every second, every minute, every day for the past 3 years leading up to her dream wedding. Each detail was a labor of love. She envisioned her big day, a sun-drenched field full of daisies, garden lights twinkling like stars, and Jake, her charming fiancé, smiling back at her with all the warmth she'd ever dreamed of. But as she sat down with her bridal planner, clutching a silk swatch of fabric, the world she'd built with her hands began to crumble when she stumbled upon a buried secret. Jake wasn't just a man who loved her, he was the heir to an ancient dukedom, a world separated by riches she never understood. Heart pounding, Emma closed her eyes, her mind racing. Could this really be true? Jake's charm masked a reality that seemed almost impossible to accept. What did it mean for their love? Weren't they just two souls who found each other? Why did this revelation rip at the very fabric of her dreams? As memories flooded back, the late-night talks over pizza, quiet walks under the stars, Emma fought back tears, torn between the idyllic life she hoped to have and the cold hardness of societal judgment that now threatened to engulf her. Weeks later, she donned a dress that felt more like armor than a celebration at an opulent engagement party hosted by Jake's family. The moment she stepped inside the grand hall, the air shifted. Crystal chandeliers hung overhead like judgmental eyes, and the laughter wafted thick with the unspoken question, who was she, this small-town girl, in a sea of affluence? Emma's heart raced as she felt the weight of all the glances, the whispers that pressed against her like storm clouds. "Emma," her mother said gently, squeezing her hand under the table, "remember your roots. This world, it can be a mirage." Moms always seem to know what to say, but Emma yearned for so much more. "Don't lose yourself in a dream that isn't yours." They locked eyes, and the distance between them widened the more Emma tried to step into a lavish world that felt foreign and suffocating. Just as tension rose within her like a pressure cooker, a grizzled veteran began to speak, a guest whose presence was quiet yet powerful. "Dignity doesn't come from wealth, but from the struggles we've faced, from loyalty and love." His words resonated deep within her, igniting a spark. In that moment, Emma stood, feeling the crowd pulse with curiosity. "I may come from Maplewood, but those roots are my strength. They make me who I am." Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. A hush fell over the room as Emma's voice steeled with emotion. "I refuse to be judged simply because I've worked hard for my dreams." Gasps echoed around her while she felt raw emotions flowing from her soul, reaching across the divide. The aristocracy quietly deemed her an outsider, yet she stood there brimming with conviction. Now at the precipice, Emma felt an unexpected revelation knocking at her heart. Could love, true love, forge a bridge over this vast canyon built on wealth and status? Or would it crumble beneath the pressure of inevitable expectations? Suddenly, the very air around her hummed with promise, leaving her grappling with a choice that could shatter her life or morph it into something extraordinary. The crowd whispered, and the future stretched out like an open road before her, uncertain, wild, and electrifying. Emma took a deep breath, grounding herself in the moment. The stares felt piercing, but as she looked out, she saw Jake in the crowd. His expression was unreadable, yet a flicker of admiration shone in his eyes. Suddenly, the walls felt a little less imposing. If she was going to navigate this world, she would do it with her head held high. She sensed that this was a pivotal moment not just for her but for Jake too. "Emma." A voice broke through her thoughts, and she turned to see Lady Catherine, Jake's aunt, marching towards her, an air of authority encasing her. "My dear, that was quite a speech," she said, her voice dripping with saccharine sweetness. "But I hope you understand that this is about more than just you. Preserving our lineage is of the utmost importance. Is that so? Emma felt a rush of heat swirl within her. What about love, Lady Catherine? Isn't that part of it? The room gasped collectively, even Jake's brows knitted together slightly, clearly taken aback by Emma's boldness. Lady Catherine's smile tightened, and she glanced at Jake, whose face was a mask of concern. He moved slightly closer, palpable tension radiating off him. Love is all well and good, but you'll understand the stakes soon enough. Before Emma could respond, a slight tremor of doubt gripped her heart. Was she prepared for the complexities of marrying into a world that seemed to worship status and wealth above all else? She pushed it back. She had fought too hard to forge this path, to become something more than a small-town girl. Jake took her hand, and she felt a jolt of warmth and familiarity. "I'm proud of you," he whispered, a fierce conviction in his voice, but his eyes hinted at the turbulence of the revelations to come. "Let them speak. Just remember, we're in this together." Gazing into his eyes, Emma felt the strength of their connection. Yet, the question lingered, did Jake truly believe they could defy all of this? As conversations around them resumed, their moment was abruptly cut short when a figure emerged. It was Jake's estranged father, the Duke himself, his presence commanding the attention of everyone in the room. "Fiona was a good woman, but this is a different game. Emma, marrying into royalty is about duty, not just love." His voice thundered across the hall, and stunned silence wrapped around them again. Emma's heart sank, she felt exposed under the weight of his expectations. She looked at Jake, who was now rigid beside her, his face a mix of pride and apprehension. They had been so bold moments ago, but now reality loomed like a dark cloud. "Choose wisely, Emma," the Duke continued, arching an eyebrow. "Our family has traditions that span centuries. Falling in love won't always protect you." His words felt like a cruel challenge. With every beat of her heart, Emma sensed the thickening tension in the air. What would they face together? A wave of determination surged through her. She could feel the hope and fear swirling within her, demanding acknowledgement. In that moment, she decided to embrace her truth, knowing that this fight for love and identity had only just begun. As the guests nodded and murmured amongst themselves, Emma turned to Jake, ready to voice her feelings, but a sudden crash echoed from the entrance. The doors burst open, and a disheveled man stumbled in, panting, his gaze darting around the room. "Jake, I found something," he called out, collapsing to his knees, clutching what looked like a weathered envelope. "You need to see this. It changes everything." The murmurs shifted, confusion swirled, the air thick with anticipation. Emma's heart raced as she glanced at Jake, fear and intrigue dancing in his eyes. What secret could this man hold? What truth lay within that envelope, ready to shatter their fragile reality once and for all? Emma's breath caught as the man's words echoed through the hall. She felt the world spin, her heart racing with uncertainty. The crowd's whispers intensified, their curious gazes locked on the duo. She turned to Jake, searching his face for answers, but his brow was furrowed, a storm brewing behind his eyes. "What do you mean it changes everything?" Jake stepped closer, his voice low but urgent. As the man fumbled with the envelope, sweat glistening on his forehead, the anticipation grew thick enough to cut. "It's about your mother," the man gasped, still recovering from his frantic entrance. "I found this among her things when I was cleaning out the old family records. You need to see it." Without waiting, he tore open the envelope and pulled out a stack of yellowed papers, shaky hands revealing each document like treasures unearthed from the past. Emma felt her stomach twist. Whatever was in those papers could alter the course of Jake's family legacy and their future. "Give me that," Jake said, extending his hand. The man hesitated but then placed the papers into Jake's palm. The room fell silent as he unfolded the top page, his eyes scanning quickly. Emma's heart pounded in her chest, she realized she was holding her breath. As Jake read, his expression shifted from confusion to disbelief. "Wait, this can't be right. His voice trembled. What are you saying? This isn't possible. Emma didn't want to interrupt, but she needed to understand. Jake, what does it say? Her voice was laced with fear. The weight of the Duke's previous words echoed in her mind, the stakes of their love looming larger than ever. With a sharp intake of breath, Jake stepped back, the papers trembling in his grip. It says my mother wasn't who I thought she was. She was involved in something much bigger than just being a duchess. The murmurs in the room rose again, with guests leaning closer, eager to hear more. Emma felt a knot tighten in her throat. Who was Jake's mother really? And what did this mean for their plans, their love, and their future? I need to see that, Emma said, holding out her hand for the documents. Jake hesitated once more, but the urgency in Emma's voice pushed him to surrender the papers. As she examined them, a mixture of dread and awe washed over her. They hinted at secrets that could shake the foundation of not just Jake's family but their relationship as well. Scrawled notes, hidden meetings, and coded messages hinted at a past involving alliances, betrayals, and maybe even dangers that Jake had never known. This can't be just about lineage anymore, Emma murmured, feeling the weight of gravity in her chest. What did your mother get involved in? Jake was silent, running a hand through his hair, visibly shaken. I don't know, Emma. But whatever it is, it could ruin everything we're trying to build. As the weight of their reality pressed down on them, Emma felt the flicker of determination pulsing within once more. They had faced uncertainty before, and while the stakes were higher now, retreating was not an option. I don't care about this world of traditions, Jake. Not if it means losing you, she declared, clutching the papers tightly, the urgency of the unknown clawing at her. We need to find out what this means. Together. Jake looked at her, a mixture of admiration and fear shining in his eyes. Are you sure you want to dive into this? What if we uncover truths that change everything for us? Then we'll face them together, she said, her voice steady, forging a path of hope through their chaos. But the question lingered in the air, swirling with the weight of the unknown. What if the truths they encountered tore them apart instead? Just then, the man who had brought the envelope spoke up, his voice shaking. I have more to tell you, but you may not like it. Emma's heart raced. What more could possibly be unveiled? A new revelation lingered on the edge, ready to tip their fate into uncharted territory. The room was charged, crackling with anticipation. Emma could feel every gaze bearing down on her, the whispers rising and falling like a tide. Jake's eyes remained glued to the man before them, a blend of fear and curiosity swirling within him. What more could there be? Jake breathed, his voice barely above a whisper. The man shifted, glancing at the crowd before returning his gaze to Jake and Emma. I'm not the only one who needs to be cautious, he began, voice trembling with the weight of secrets. Your mother had enemies, Jake. Powerful ones. And these documents, they might put you both in danger. Emma's heart sank. The idea of danger was one thing, she never imagined they would be stepping into a web of threats. What kind of enemies? She demanded, her voice steady despite the anxiety bubbling beneath the surface. The man hesitated, swallowing hard. During her time your mother was involved with a faction that opposed the traditional aristocracy. They believed in reform, radical reform. She had connections that went deeper than any of us knew. And those who opposed her they may not have forgotten. Jake's face went pale. What do you mean? Are you saying these people could come after us? Panic seeped into his voice, causing the air around them to thicken. I don't know, the man admitted, shaking his head. I only found part of the story. If you wish to uncover the truth, you must tread carefully. People don't take kindly to their pasts being uncovered. Emma's grip tightened around the papers, recognizing the depth of the risk they were now entangled in. We can't turn back now, she insisted, determination flooding her voice. Jake, we're already in the middle of this. We need to figure out what your mother was involved in. It could be the key to protecting ourselves and ensuring our future. Jake looked torn, battling an inner war of doubt and resolve. Emma could sense his fear, the pull of his family legacy weighing heavily on his shoulders. But she also saw a flicker of hope igniting in his dark eyes, the shared determination that had brought them together through every challenge. The man nodded, taking a deep breath as he prepared to reveal more. If you're set on this path, there is someone who might help, a woman who worked closely with your mother. She knows things, hidden secrets that could shed light on everything. Where can we find her? Emma asked, her pulse quickening at the thought of a lead. She lives on the outskirts of town, in a small cottage. It may not be easy to reach her, but I suggest you go tonight, he instructed. She's been guarded ever since your mother's disappearance. But if you explain why you're looking for her, she might help. Jake nodded, steeling himself. We'll go together. I won't let you face this alone. His words were like an anchor, grounding Emma even as the chaos swirled around them. The man placed a hand on Jake's shoulder, an action that seemed to momentarily unite them against an uncertain tide. Be careful. This woman's knowledge could either save you or put you in more danger. You need to prepare yourselves. As the man's warning hung in the air, Emma and Jake exchanged a look that spoke volumes. There was fear, yes, but also a burgeoning sense of purpose. They were about to delve into a world filled with shadows and secrets, but maybe, just maybe, they could expose the light hidden within. With a nod of agreement, they turned to leave the gathering behind, the weight of their shared mission propelling them forward. But as they stepped into the cool evening, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that darkness was closing in around them, and the real danger was only just beginning. Do you think we're doing the right thing? Emma asked quietly, glancing at Jake as the town lights flickered in the distance. If it means unraveling the truth, then yes, he replied, determination set in his jaw. But I won't let anything happen to you, Emma, no matter what we uncover. And with those words, they disappeared into the night, unaware of the eyes that watched them leave, nor of the shadows that awaited their journey ahead. What other secrets lay hidden in the darkness, waiting to be unveiled? The chill of the night air wrapped around Emma and Jake as they made their way toward the outskirts of town. Each step felt heavier than the last, weighing them down with the gravity of what lay ahead. The shadows stretched longer beneath the glow of street lamps, twisting ominously like the secrets they were about to unravel. Do you think we'll find her? Emma asked softly, her voice laced with uncertainty. She glanced at Jake, noting the determination etched on his face. It was comforting, but didn't entirely quell her anxiety. From what the man said, she might know more than anyone else. We just have to convince her to talk, Jake replied, his eyes fixated on the dim path ahead. They walked in silence, each lost in their thoughts. Emma wondered about the woman who once stood side by side with Jake's mother, the woman whose secrets could change everything. Would she be willing to share? Would she see the good they intended? As they approached the cottage, a small structure hidden among tall trees, their hearts raced in unison. The place looked abandoned, the windows dark and unwelcoming, void of life. Jake hesitated, fear creeping into his expression. What if she doesn't want to be found? Then we'll have to find a way to make her see why we're here, Emma reassured him. Her heart pounded, not just from fear, but from the thrill of seeking the truth. Just as Jake reached for the weathered door, they heard a rustling noise from the foliage nearby. Emma tensed. Did you hear that? Jake nodded, eyes narrowing. Stay close. They stepped inside the shadow of the porch, the air thick with the smell of damp earth and decay. The old wood creaked ominously beneath their weight, echoing in the stillness. When Jake knocked on the door, it startled the silence, reverberating in the night. Seconds felt like hours before a muffled voice drifted from within. Who's there? It was raspy, weary, and held a hint of authority. Emma exchanged glances with Jake, a surge of hope rushing through her. We're looking for Margaret. We need to talk to her about Jake's mother. A pause hung in the air before the sound of shuffling footsteps graced their ears. They held their breath, anticipation steeping like tea. Finally, the door creaked open, revealing a sight that took their breath away. Margaret, a woman with eyes sharp as a hawk's and a face lined with stories, stood before them. "You must be brave to come here. What makes you think I would help?" Jake stepped forward, his voice steady. "We believe you know things about my mother, things that could help us understand what happened." His honesty hung between them like a sword, waiting to cut through the tension. Margaret's gaze flickered over them, assessing, questioning. "And you think uncovering the past will protect you?" Emma felt a jolt of frustration. "It's not just about protection. It's about finding the truth. About understanding who she really was." Margaret frowned, crossing her arms. "The truth isn't always what you want it to be." They braced for her next words, the air thick with hesitation. Would she shut them down? Or would she let them into her world of secrets, her world marred by betrayal? "Fine," she said, finally stepping aside, her demeanor softening just a touch. "But be warned, what you seek may bring more danger than you can anticipate." Emma and Jake shared a glance, their hearts racing. They were about to step into uncharted territory, where the past intertwined with the present. As they crossed the threshold, Emma couldn't help but wonder just how deep the rabbit hole went. What more did Margaret know? And as the door shut behind them, the darkness outside whispered its unspoken secrets, reminding them that the real journey was only just beginning. Would they be ready to face what lay ahead? Inside the cottage, the atmosphere shifted. The air felt thick with history, secrets stored in every creak of the floorboards and shadow on the walls. Margaret motioned for them to sit on worn chairs, pulling her own closer to the flickering light of a small oil lamp. "I don't have much to say," she began, her voice low and gravelly. "But if you're looking for answers, you'll have to listen carefully." Emma leaned forward, her heart racing. "We just want to understand, to know more about Jake's mother. What happened in the past? Why did she leave?" Margaret studied them, her hawk-like eyes penetrating. "Your mother made choices, ones that impacted all of us. Sometimes, those choices weren't just her own." Jake clenched his fists on his knees, drawing in a deep breath. "Choices like what? Who else was involved?" "For starters, there was Sam," Margaret said, her expression darkening. He was a part of your mother's life in ways you can't yet comprehend." "Sam?" Emma echoed, feeling a mix of confusion and curiosity. "Who is he?" Margaret's gaze drifted to the window, her mind brewing with old memories. "He was a dreamer, a man with ambitious ideas that stirred the pot in our small town. Your mother believed in him, and in the things he wanted to change." Her voice became more animated, shadows dancing across her face. "But dreams can turn to nightmares, especially when people get hurt." "What do you mean by that?" Jake pressed, leaning forward. "What happened?" Margaret hesitated, the words catching in her throat, as if they were heavy stones. "There was a protest, a clash over plans to improve the town. It spiraled out of control. Your mother thought it was all about hope, but it ended with betrayal and loss. The kind of loss that changes everything." Emma's stomach twisted. "And my mother was part of it?" "She was there, and she made a choice that night," Margaret said, her voice trembling slightly. "It was the kind of choice that may have saved one life but destroyed another. The secret she kept wasn't just hers to bear, it burdened all of us. I can't say more without leading you into deeper waters." Jake felt a mix of emotions swirling inside him: anger, sorrow, and an aching curiosity. "What happened to Sam?" Margaret's eyes darkened further, and her voice lowered to a murmur. "He vanished shortly after. Some believe he was hiding, others think he met a darker fate. But your mother never stopped looking for him. And in her search, she unleashed something far worse." The room fell silent, the weight of their conversation settling around them like a thick fog. Emma felt a shiver race down her spine. What do you mean unleashed something? Margaret leaned closer, her eyes locked onto theirs with an intensity that sent an electric chill through the room. There are those who still believe in what Sam was trying to change. They will stop at nothing to reclaim what they've lost, even if it means putting you in danger. Jake's heart pounded as he exchanged glances with Emma. The gravity of Margaret's statement hung in the air, heavy and ominous. "Why tell us this?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "What do you want us to do?" Margaret leaned back, her expression softening. "I want you to be prepared. The truth is out there, but not everyone will want it uncovered. You need to decide what you're willing to risk for your answers." Emma felt a swell of determination rise within her. "We're willing to risk everything if it means understanding who she truly was." Margaret nodded, her lips curving slightly with a hint of approval, the kind of approval that was laced with caution. "Then I will help you, but be warned, crossing into the past may lead you deeper into shadows you never knew existed." Just then, the faint sound of movement outside the cottage caught their attention, drawing their focus away from the conversation. Emma's heart raced again, and she could feel the tension build in the air. "Did you hear that?" she asked, eyes darting toward the door. Margaret's expression hardened once more. "We aren't the only ones here. It seems you aren't as safe as you thought." As the shadows flickered in the lamp's light, the reality of their mission hit Emma like a tidal wave. What had they truly stepped into? And just how far were they willing to go to uncover the truth? The door rattled softly, sending a rush of adrenaline through Emma as she and Jake exchanged nervous glances. The flickering light struggled against the encroaching darkness, creating a dance of shadows that made the cottage feel even more suffocating. "Margaret, what do you mean by we aren't the only ones?" Jake's voice was tense, laced with urgency. Margaret remained still, her expression tightening. "People are after what you seek. If they find out you're asking questions about your mother, about Sam, they won't stop until they get what they want." Emma's heart raced as she imagined dark figures lurking outside, their intentions clear: stop them at all costs. "Can we hide? Is there a back way out?" Margaret shook her head slowly. "Hiding won't help. If they're here, they already know you are." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "You need to decide now. Are you ready to confront the past? Because there's no turning back." Jake's features hardened with determination. "We have to do this. We need the truth." Emma felt a surge of bravery swell inside her. They couldn't run. Not now. Not when they were this close to the heart of the mystery. "What do you need us to do?" Margaret took a deep breath as if preparing to share a weighty burden. "I have some boxes in the attic. Things your mother kept from that time. Letters, documents, and maybe even something I shouldn't have." "Let us get them," Jake said, already standing up. "Every clue could be crucial." "Not yet." Margaret held up her hand. "If you're being watched, it's better to stay low for now. We need a plan. We can't rush in blindly, or we'll certainly get caught." Emma felt the walls close in as her mind raced. The shadows seemed to grow heavier with every second. What if we distract them? Draw them away from the cottage? Margaret's gaze hardened with a fierce glint. "That may work. If you can create a diversion, I'll have time to gather what you need." "What kind of distraction?" Jake asked, his brow furrowing in thought. Emma's mind spun. "Fire? Smoke? We could." "No." Margaret interrupted, urgency rising in her tone. "Nothing loud or destructive. It needs to be subtle, something that draws attention without causing a scene." The air thickened with tension as they strategized. Outside, the faint rustle of leaves hinted at the movement patrolling the perimeter. Emma's heart raced as she weighed her options. Then, inspiration struck. "What if I head towards the old oak grove? It's quiet, but if I make a scene?" "No." Jake interjected, louder now. You can't go alone. It's too dangerous. Emma felt frustration boil but tempered it with reason. But we need to act fast. If we wait too long, we risk losing our chance. Margaret considered the two of them, her sharp eyes glimmering with both fear and fierceness. It's risky, but it might work. We must time it right. As they worked out their plan, the fear of the unknown wrapped around them like a heavy blanket. What if they failed? What if they stumbled right into a trap? Emma knew that whatever they did next could change everything. Are you ready for this? Jake asked, looking her in the eyes, his uncertainty mirroring her own. More than ever, she replied, her voice steady, yet a flutter of dread twisted inside her. We need to know the truth, Jake. Not just for us, but for her. Before they could dwell further on their fears, Margaret stood abruptly. It's time. Get ready. We'll do this together. As they moved toward the door, Emma's heart thundered in her chest. They were stepping out into the darkness, ready to confront whatever lay ahead. But as she opened the door, a figure loomed in the shadows just beyond their reach, drawing their attention. Emma gasped, realizing the danger had come to them. "Who's there?" she shouted, her voice echoing in the night. The figure stepped forward, a chilling grin spreading across their face. "I've been waiting for you." As the words hung in the air, Emma felt her stomach drop. What had they just walked into? And who was this person, and what did they know about their quest for truth? The figure stepped closer, catching the light. Emma could see the familiar face but couldn't believe her eyes. It was Lila, her mother's old friend. The last time she had seen Lila, she was nothing more than a shadow in family stories, a name whispered in reverence and sadness. "Lila?" Jake's voice trembled. "What are you doing here?" She chuckled, though it sounded forced, as if she were trying to mask something beneath the surface. "I could ask you the same thing. You two are walking into a mess far bigger than you can handle. Why didn't you tell us you were coming?" Emma's heart raced, confusion swirling within her like a storm. "I didn't know how to explain." Lila's gaze darted towards the woods, anxiety etched in her features. "Things are not as they seem, Emma." "Not at all." Margaret stepped forward, her posture protective. "You should not be here, Lila. They're watching. You won't be safe if you stay." A flicker of defiance ignited in Lila's eyes. "I'm not afraid of them. They can't control me any longer." "Who is they?" Emma pressed, desperate for answers. "What's really going on?" Lila hesitated, her expression turning pained. "Your mother, she had secrets. Secrets that could ruin lives, maybe even ours. I thought I could keep you safe by staying away." Emma felt her chest tighten. Was she really about to uncover her mother's truth, the reason she had been searching all this time? "You have to tell us everything," Jake insisted, stepping closer to Lila. "If we're going to face whatever's out there, we need to know what we're up against." Lila glanced over her shoulder nervously before lowering her voice. "There's a group that's been watching your mother for years. They believe she has something powerful. They thought she would lead them to it, and now they think you might." A cold shiver raced down Emma's spine. "What does that mean? What are they after?" "I can't explain it all right now," Lila said, her eyes darting back toward the shadows. "But you need to trust me. I'm on your side." "Why should we trust you?" Emma demanded. "You vanished from our lives without a word." "I did what I had to," Lila replied, panic rising in her voice. "I thought I was protecting you." Just then, a loud crack echoed from the trees, causing them all to jump. Emma's heart pounded. "We need to move. We can't stay here." "Follow me," Lila urged, her tone urgent now. They stepped out into the night, feeling the weight of unseen eyes. As they moved, Emma's senses heightened, adrenaline coursing through her veins. Every rustle in the bushes felt ominous, like a warning shot. "Where are we going?" Emma asked, keeping pace with Lila. "To a safe place," Lila assured. "But first, we need to draw them away from the cottage." "Maybe we can use the grove," Jake suggested, and Emma felt a rush of relief at his idea. "Good thinking. We'll make it appear like you two are at the grove while I head back to the house," Lila said, determination creeping back into her voice. Emma's heart pounded harder. This was at the moment she had waited for yet never imagined would come with such risks. As they neared the trees, Lila stopped and turned to Emma. "Whatever happens, promise me you'll hold on to your mother's strength. And remember, the truth can hurt, but it will set you free." All the uncertainty that had swirled within Emma shifted then, replaced by a fierce sense of purpose. "Let us do this," Jake said, determination in his eyes, but just as they prepared to split up, a shadow appeared, moving swiftly between the trees. Emma felt her breath hitch. The danger was suddenly all too real. "Go!" Lila shouted. "Now!" With a final glance back, Emma could see the tension sculpted on Lila's face, defiance mixed with dread, a reminder of the stakes they faced, and with that, they dashed toward the old oak grove, their world a dizzying blur of shadows and swirling panic. Emma's heart raced, every sound around them amplifying her fear. What awaited them in the darkness? What truths hid in the shadows, waiting to be revealed? Just then, footsteps pounded behind them. They weren't alone after all. "Run!" Emma screamed as the figures emerged from the darkness, closing in fast. Behind them, Lila yelled something indistinguishable, but Emma didn't look back. The truth, or whatever it might be, was unfolding, and she needed to uncover it before everything spiraled beyond her control. What dark secrets would they find in the grove? Would they make it in time? The trees loomed ahead, their twisted branches reaching out like skeletal fingers, threatening to ensnare anything that dared to come near. With every pounding step, the shadows grew darker, more suffocating, but Emma couldn't allow fear to take hold. Jake was right at her side, and the adrenaline surged through them both. "Keep running!" he shouted, his breath coming in quick bursts. She could feel the heat radiating off his body, and it was oddly comforting amidst the chaos. They raced into the grove, where the moonlight barely pierced through the thick canopy overhead. Everything seemed amplified, the rustling leaves, the snapping twigs, each sound echoed like a warning bell. Emma glanced back just once, her heart constricting as she saw the blurred forms of figures chasing after them, dark silhouettes against the night. Lila's voice rang out clear, even through their frantic escape. "I'll lead them away. You have to trust me." Emma's gut twisted at the thought of being separated again. "What if something happens to you?" she yelled back, panic lacing her voice. Lila shot them a determined look, her eyes fierce and resolute. "I'll be fine. Just go." And with that, she veered off into the thicker part of the woods, leaving Emma and Jake to plunge deeper into the grove. "I don't like this," Emma murmured, her pulse racing faster than her feet could carry her. She could feel the weight of secrets pressing down on her, and they were becoming harder to ignore. "Emma, we have to focus," Jake urged, his hand clutching her arm tightly. "We need to find somewhere to hide until we can figure out what to do next." They spotted a gnarled oak tree with a hollow space at its base, just large enough for them to crouch down and duck from view. They dove into the shadows, breathless and trembling. Emma put a finger to her lips, signaling for silence. As they listened intently, the sounds of footsteps grew closer. Emma's heart hammered against her chest. She wanted to scream, to run, but held her breath instead. She felt Jake's gaze on her, and for a moment, all the noise faded away. In that silence, she realized how much they had gone through together, how much they had to risk to uncover the truth. After a long moment that felt like an eternity, footsteps moved past the entrance of their hiding spot. Emma's stomach lurched. Were they looking for them? She held on to Jake's arm, feeling the tension radiate between them, and then they heard voices. Low and conspiratorial, just a few feet away. "Did you see which way they went? We can't lose them now," said a voice that sent a shiver down her spine. "They're here somewhere. Keep looking." Another voice ordered, sharp and commanding. Emma exchanged a panicked glance with Jake, who nodded slightly. They had to stay quiet and calm. Their best chance lay in silence. With every passing second, the danger felt more real. Emma processed Lila's words and her mother's secrets rattling in her mind. What was so powerful? What did they want with her? Suddenly, an unexpected rustle came from the other side of the tree, and Emma felt her heart drop. Would they really find them? Would this night unravel everything she had feared? The voices grew louder. "I can feel it. They have to be close." Then, in a bold move that surprised Emma, Jake whispered urgently, "We have to move. Now." Before Emma could respond, he slipped out of their hiding spot, and she instinctively followed. The shadows of the grove spiraled around them, and in that whirlwind of movement, she could barely keep her thoughts straight. As they broke free from the tree's refuge, Emma's mind raced. "Where do we even go now?" she whispered, trying to catch her breath as anxiety clawed at her throat. "I don't know, but we need to find out what Lila knows. We need to know the truth about what is happening," Jake replied, his determination firm. Just then, a sudden flash of light illuminated the grove, casting long shadows that danced across the ground. Emma's breath caught. They were surrounded. "What now?" she gasped, eyes wide with fright. Before Jake could answer, another figure emerged from the shadows, one she hadn't expected to see again. "Stop right there," said Lila, her voice shaking but resolute. "You have to listen to me. The truth is more dangerous than you realize." Emma felt her heart drop at the weight of those words. What had they gotten themselves into? And what was the truth that could change everything? The air crackled with tension as Lila stood before them, her once comforting presence now laced with an urgency that sent shivers racing down Emma's spine. "You have to trust me," she insisted. "What I'm about to tell you could turn everything upside down." Emma felt Jake's hand grip hers tightly. "Lila, we're already in deep. Just tell us what we need to know." Lila nodded, her eyes darting around the grove as if shadows themselves were listening. "Your mother was involved with something unique. Something others would kill to find." Emma's chest tightened. "What do you mean? What was she after?" "Sam," Lila answered, her voice trembling. "Your mother believed he was more than just a revolutionary. He was a key to power and secrets that could shift the entire balance of aristocracy. But those powers will do anything to secure their legacy." The weight of Lila's truths pressed down on Emma like an anchor. Her mother, tangled in plots she couldn't fathom. What kind of power? What was he hiding? "They called it the beacon," Lila whispered, her voice barely audible. "A thing that symbolizes hope, yet teeters on the edge of destruction. People believed it could change the world, but at what cost?" Jake clenched his jaw. "And now they're after us because we might carry the same potential?" "Yes," Lila confirmed, stepping closer, desperation etched in her features. "You must understand, this isn't just about your mother. There are factions at play, and we don't know how deep they run." Emma felt her heart race, uncertainty swirling like a storm. "Then what do we do? We can't go back." But suddenly, a scream tore through the grove, echoing in the still night. "There they are." Emma's breath caught in her throat as menacing shadows emerged, more figures than she'd anticipated, all closing in. Panic surged through her. They needed to move right now. "Lila!" Jake shouted. "We can't stay here." As if awakened by his urgency, Lila grabbed Emma's arm. "Follow me." They dashed deeper into the grove, branches whipping against their skin. Fear surged through Emma, but she couldn't afford to look back. Jake was at her side, and together they tore through the brambles, adrenaline carrying them forward, they stumbled into a hidden glade, moonlight bathing them in a silver glow. Glancing sideways, Emma could see the fear mirrored in Jake's eyes, but also a lingering determination. "Lila, where do we go?" Emma panted, desperation clawing at her throat. "There's a hidden path," Lila said urgently, scanning their surroundings. "It's over by the old well. Not many know it exists. Come on." As they rushed toward the well, Emma's heart raced louder than the pounding in her ears. Would they make it? What awaited them outside this grove? Just as they reached the edge, a shout broke through the hushed darkness. "Stop! You can't hide forever." Emma turned, her gut twisting with fear. But Lila pushed her and Jake onward, urging them to jump into the well's shadowed entrance. Inside was a narrow passage, damp and cool, with the distinct smell of earth. They hurried forward, breaths mingling with hushed urgency. "Keep going," Lila whispered, barely stopping as they pressed on, glancing over her shoulder. "Do you even know where this leads?" Jake questioned, breathless but steady. "My mother told me it branches to the old cellar," Lila responded, conviction in her voice. "We'll find answers there." Hope rose within Emma, fueling their steps. Together, they could unravel this tangled web. Suddenly, the passage opened into a dimly lit cellar, remnants of a forgotten world casting shadows against the walls. Old journals and scattered papers lay abandoned, echoes of the past. This had been a secret place. "Look!" Emma gasped, motioning to an old wooden chest wedged in the corner. "It could hold everything we need." As they approached it, a heavy silence enveloped them. They worked together, prying the chest open, letting out a cloud of dust, revealing crumpled papers and artifacts from a past that pulsed with energy. "What do you see?" Lila asked, hope igniting in her gaze. Emma sifted through the papers, her heart racing as the words began to fit together like pieces of an intricate puzzle. Their notes about the beacon. "My mother was trying to preserve it and prevent its misuse. Then we need to protect it," Jake exclaimed, urgency filling his voice. "We can't let those factions find it." "Wait, there's more." Emma scanned through the notes and a particular name caught her breath. "Sam, he was looking for this too. There are mentions of a location and artifact tied directly to our families." The tension in the room felt electric. They had a chance to reclaim their past. Just then, a tremor ran through the ground above them, echoing the urgency of the moment. They knew time was running out. "Get everything together," Lila urged, sweeping up artifacts and papers. "We need to move now." As they hurried, Emma felt Jake's hand slip into hers again, their fingers lacing together, anchoring her amidst the chaos. "Whatever happens next, we face it together," he whispered, conviction unwavering in his voice. The gravity of their bond wrapped around Emma's heart, giving her strength to fight, to protect her loved ones, to embrace the hidden truths of her family. Together, they slipped back into the darkness, clinging tightly to hope, leaning on each other as they stepped into the unknown, ready to uncover secrets that had been buried far too long. As they emerged beneath the moonlight, the night shimmered with promise and peril. The shadows that once threatened now became the territory they would navigate to reclaim their destiny. Embarking on a journey that would change the course of their lives forever, they vowed to uncover the truth of the past, risking it all for the love that burned brighter than the looming darkness. This was only the beginning, a new chapter unfurling, and they would be ready to face whatever awaited them, side by side. Now that the story of Emma and Jake has come to an emotional conclusion, I urge you, subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that will leave you breathless. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your appreciation for the hard work that goes into every tale. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Every word matters. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. True fans understand the importance of supporting the channel, and your actions can keep this magic alive.